Hello and welcome to SweetSpotDFS. This is a course fit video for the 2021 American Express. And I will be covering tournament fact sheets, weather forecast, course breakdown, golfers' demographics, basically looking at where they live and their shot shapes, grass stats, course history, and then finishing up with the best course fit plays. You can find the timestamps in the description below. I also have chapter mode enabled. That is the progress bar below. It's cut up into segments and they're all titled, so you know which part of the video you are at. Okay, let's just get right into it. So unfortunately, we don't have the 2021 tournament fact sheets. I'm not sure if the GCSAA is going to publish them. They don't have any published for 2018 or 2019. They did have last year's, obviously, as you can see. But it's only for the PGA West Stadium course. Like, we don't have anything for the other two courses. And this one is kind of problematic. What I like to see from this is, what they have the stimp running at, the yardage, the par, that kind of stuff. That's good to know. Average green size, that's also good to know. How many water hazards is a good one as well. And how many bunkers? 90 plus. What troubles me is this. This golf course is not a Bermuda golf course. I want to reiterate that this golf course at this time of the year is not a Bermuda golf course. This is what it looks like. You see all the yellow grass? That is dormant Bermuda. It doesn't grow. And in fact, it isn't necessarily dying. It's just maintaining what it's at. Dormant Bermuda is brittle grass. It is not the thick, gnarly grass that you're used to with Bermuda. Looking at Bermuda stats is pointless. Just don't do it. I went to school for golf management. I went into agronomy. I've even lived in this area for a couple years, working at a golf course very close to this one. So do not look up Bermuda stats. It's so insanely, I'll refrain, but it's dumb, honestly. Don't look up Bermuda stats. The Bermuda can't survive here. That yellow grass is proof, and you're going to see that on the telecast. That is dormant Bermuda. I just want to keep, I have already heard a couple big name guys talk about how this is Bermuda. It's not Bermuda. It's not Bermuda. Okay. Going back here. So like I said, it's troubling because Bermuda grass. Obviously it isn't. I don't know why they put this here. In fact, the reason they have 90 plus and not a specific number, to me, this whole thing is lazy. I kind of have a feeling that Chris May does not want to provide this information. And hey, he could be a busy guy. The superintendents don't need to provide this information. And they might not even be a part of the organization of the GCSAA. So keep that in mind. Just, it's something to note. Let's move on past this because other than the information you see there, it's only one course we're going to see on here. And okay, the other big piece too is it's a Pete Dye golf course. And Jack Nicklaus actually has admitted that a lot of his style is or was not affected. Let's put it this way. He puts a lot of Pete Dye designs in his course. He followed Pete Dye for one of the golf courses in Ohio. I forget which one it is. But when Pete Dye created that course, he and Nicklaus worked together, and Nicklaus got a lot of information from him there. And he's using that in most of his architectural work after that moment or whatever. So a lot of the things you see in Dye will be used in Nicklaus. I think it's like deep bunkers and stuff like that. So it's worth noting. All right, going past that, here's your 10-day weather forecast. So on Thursday, it's mostly sunny. Friday, partly cloudy. Saturday, showers. Sunday, partly cloudy. The wind, pretty benign, 7 miles an hour, 9 miles an hour. Like I said, I've lived in the desert. In fact, I'm actually repping a palm tree just for this tournament. I forgot to mention that in the preview. I ended up going and getting the Bryson shirt that he wore at the Tournament of Champions. This is the Puma. I forget what it's called. They basically are going to showcase, different gear at different tournaments. I'm actually looking forward to the Arnold Palmer one. I'll be getting that one for sure. Either way, I've lived here. It rarely rains, and when it does, like seriously, when it says showers, it's more like a sprinkle. Like it never rains in this area, and when it does, everything is just. I joke, I'm from Minnesota. When Kansas gets a light snowstorm, or not even a snowstorm, but a light dusting of snow, they close everything. Same with like Arkansas, that kind of stuff. It's funny because obviously in Minnesota, we get a lot of snow. I get the reason why. I understand the reason why. But it's also shocking and surprising how many people just don't know how to drive in snow. When water comes down in the desert, everyone freaks out, similar to how like some of the southern states do with snow. It's crazy. It's so weird. And like everyone has their summer slick tires on. There's oil on the highway, like just some, here and there. When water combines with that, it makes it super slippery like ice. Apparently. I never actually saw anyone slip and slide, but when I lived there, people told me stories of that all the time. So it's a little short story of me living there, but it's weird. It's whatever. Either way, weather's gonna be perfect. Basically, that's what I'm trying to get at. And to see a weather forecast that says anything like rain or whatever, I just don't believe it. I'm not going to believe it. So let's go ahead and get into a course breakdown. So I did a little bit of a course breakdown for the two courses, PGA West Stadium and then the PGA West Nicklaus tournament course. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just scroll down. What I want you guys to do, just pause the video and read it if you want to go through it. Usually these videos get a little too long if I go through hole by hole and tell you, which shot shape is required on what. But this is the PGA West Stadium course. Pause it, read it. We'll go over to the PGA Nicklaus course. Pause it and read it. And then I'll give you my little summary here at the end. Hopefully you had enough time. It's kind of weird. So it's a desert course, and we can even come back to here. You can see a lot of these trees not really in play. Like these are what kind of trees you're going to see on just about every hole. So we're not going to see really any tree trouble. What we will see is a lot of water. So we have to keep that in mind. There's going to be a lot of water on this golf course. And how I have shot shapes required. So for instance, this hole right here, we're looking at the tee area. Right here is the tee boxes. Water's on the left. The preferred shot shape would be a draw. I know some of you guys might be like, well, a fade actually goes away from the water. If your fade doesn't come back, your drop is right here. Like if I can make an X mark, it's right here. This is where your drop is. If you were to, or right here. Wherever that ball enters the water, that's where your drop zone is. If you were to hit it out here and hit a draw and say the draw doesn't come back, you're safe. If say you overdrew it and it came back around, you're going to drop up here. So that's why the drop is the shot shape is preferred as a draw. So that's what I did throughout most of this course breakdown. I will tell you this. Although you see all the fades and draws on here, I would say 90% of the holes, you can hit any shot shape you want. A lot of the greens are big enough where they're going to be receptive to any shot shape. But I have on here either it's the safest shot shape or it's the most advantageous. Like it'll get you closer to a tucked pin. When I tallied it all out, basically 2 holes require off the tee draws. 2 holes require off the tee fades. We have 7 draws into the green, 3 fades into the green, and then 10 holes where it doesn't matter off the tee and 8 holes where it doesn't matter on approach. When it doesn't matter, we just say rule of thumb is just hit a fade. fade is the easiest way to control your golf ball. I don't know why I didn't have that. Oh well. So going on to the Nicklaus tournament course, you're going to see a lot less requirements for shot shapes. A lot of fades, a lot of draws, not a lot, but just a few. So you can see off the tee draws, 0. Off the tee fades, 1. Into the green draws, 2. Into the green fades, 4. 13 where it doesn't matter off the tee, and 12 where it doesn't matter on approach. So really the big thing for me is how many draw holes, like the greens sometimes are positioned for a draw at the PGA West course. So it's kind of interesting to see the likes of Adam Hadwin like this course. Adam Hadwin loves shaping the shot both directions. I mean, if you ever watch him play golf, if he's ever in contention, they'll talk about how he loves flighting the golf ball all different directions. I can see why he does well here. He enjoys shaping it where it's required. And there aren't many forced carries. So I think that's why a golfer like Adam Hadwin really likes this golf course. So really, your shot shapers that can shape it both directions, probably the way to go. But I think having a draw, and this is all right-handed shot shapes. So from a right-handed's perspective, if it's a lefty, you just switch it around. I would say we want to hit more draws than fades. So let's go ahead and look at our golfer demographics. We'll get into course fit soon, but what I want to do, I'll hide this column so we can see more of this. I think that covers everything. Yep. Let's go ahead and go price up to bottom. And actually, let's look at all of our draws. All of the draw golfers that I actually have in the database. First of all, let me actually show you of all the golfers in this database. Here are the ones I don't have. I do know he hits a fade. I know he hits a draw. I don't know why this wasn't updated. He hits a draw. We'll just keep it at Piercy hits a fade. Yeah. Oh, Perez hits a draw. Okay. So of all the guys now that have blanks, here are all the guys up here. I'm not positive what their shot shape is. I might have a hint that I know, but these are the golfers I just don't know. So I would advise you to pause the video if you do know. Like, I think I saw Steve Stricker. That's a draw. This just tells me I need to go back in into my database and update it. I'll have to rewatch the video and see which ones. So anyways, those are all the guys that I'm not sure of. Let's look at the ones that have draw, because this is probably the preferred shot shape for at least PGA West. I don't think it really is. It's going to matter at the Nicklaus tournament course, but for the stadium course, it will. Cantlay is the high-priced guy now that Rahm is out of the field. I like Cantlay quite a bit. Reed is another interesting play. Now, I don't like Reed per se off the tee at the PGA West course or the stadium course, primarily because he's pretty erratic with his driver. And if he's going to hit some of those duck hooks into the ponds, I'm going to stay away. But I might consider playing him. Matthew Wolff. Really like Matthew Wolff's potential at this golf course. It's a scoring paradise, and I think Matthew Wolff, obviously we saw him at the Shriners, he can go low. So I do like Matthew Wolff at this golf course. Kevin Na just won. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Paul Casey's okay. Not bad. I'm not going to talk about all these guys. I'm going to scroll down though, and you can look at all the other golfers that have draws next to their name. So if you like some of these guys, just write a note, notate it that this guy hits a draw and it just fits more into your profile. Scott Harrington hitting a draw. I like that. He's a very cheap golfer that has very good potential. For those that hit a fade, we have Koepka, Finau, Im, Scheffler, Fowler, Answer. Now, Fowler used to hit a draw. but he has changed his shot shape to try to fit what some of the elite golfers, what they can do. If you think about all the elite golfers, most of them have a fade shot shape or can access a fade shot shape whenever they need to. So maybe we put Ricky at both. I think, actually, I don't know. I haven't seen enough of his game to understand if he still has the draw, you know, like if he's still in really good control of the draw or not. Abraham Answer hits a fade. Cam Champ hits a fade. Now, some of these guys can actually hit the ball opposite direction, but it's just not consistent and it's not dependable. That's why I have these as fades. They can probably hit draws, but more than likely, it's not dependable, and that's why I have it this way. I'll scroll down a little bit. You guys, again, pause the video, make some notes, whoever you like. I don't really have anyone to talk about. But how about golfers who have both? Now, I don't have a lot of them under here. Maybe I can add a couple more. But what I have seen for golfers, whenever they need to hit a fade, they've been on the money. And whenever they need to hit a draw, they've been on the money as well. Now, I'm not sure if that was just because they were on at that moment in time. But here you go. We have Phil, Harmon, Hadwin, Howell III. Pretty much it's a straight ball flight. Grillo, Nick Taylor, Kyle Stanley, Jason Duffner, Chase Seifert. Interesting. I don't remember ever putting that down, but hey, very cool. Roger Sloan, I like that, and Scott Brown. The other thing I want to look at, so we'll look at home region, and we're going to be looking at Southwest. So this is where they currently live, by the way. I was kind of blanking on that, why I couldn't think of it, but looking at Southwest, these are all, or no, we want Pacific. There we go. So here's all of our California guys. This is their home state where they're currently living, minus Kyle Stanley, who's a Washington guy, but Phil, Brennan Steele, Max Homa, JJ Spahn, Joseph Bramlett, and Martin Trainer. Really, none of these golfers really do it for me, if I'm being quite honest. Like, I don't like any of them. Let's look at college region. Again, we'll go Southwest. Not Southwest, Pacific. Patrick Cantlay shows up, obviously. We like Patrick Cantlay at California golf courses. Brendan Steele shows up twice with the Pacific. I should have seen that before. So does Max Homa. So, hey, not terrible. And they're both the draw golfers, so that works. James Hahn. I like James Hahn here. He's pretty good on California tracks. Other than that, I really don't see anything that I absolutely love. Patrick Rogers, maybe. One thing I want to note, if I were to go back to Southwest, it's going to show Matthew Wolff. Now, Matthew Wolff grew up in California. I should have that information on here. The reason why this home state is Florida is because that's where he's currently living. That's where the PGA says where Matthew Wolff is. If I were to go to the PGA website, I could be completely wrong. But I don't think so. Got W. Probably not going to find it. Just a bunch of old guys. Okay, so. So birthplace, Agora Hills. Sure, makes sense to me. Residence, Jupiter, Florida. So I don't know how often he actually comes back to California, but the fact is his home that he has for residency, you know, to the PGA is in Florida. I'm guessing that's where he probably practices the most. I do know that his golf coach, George Gankis, is in California, so I don't know. I don't know how to take it, but this would be another guy that has California ties. I don't know if I really care about talking about the official World Golf Ranking, but let's see how many people are top 300 in this event. Quite a bit. Wow. 100 golfers are in the top 300 in this field. So it's a pretty strong strength of field, like a pretty decent strength of field, I should say. I think last week was the same way, and maybe it's going to be this way going forward because COVID kind of took away the Korn Ferry graduates or the Korn Ferry graduation or whatever. I don't know. Maybe not. I would normally talk about Bermuda percentage. But like I said, I don't think this is a Bermuda golf course. This is just to see in the review if it actually kind of comes back. But let's go ahead and look at course history. So I have this filtered out by golfers who are playing in this event and what their best average is. You can see Adam Hadwin is the horse for the course. He has 148th, and if you were to take that out, his last 4 performances averaged 3.25. So definitely Adam Hadwin likes this golf course. Didn't play it in 2020. I'm not sure why. I think it was a childbirth kept him from it. I'm pretty sure. But either way. Really, I don't care. Like, course history doesn't show us anything. Like, sure, a bunch of these 20s and whatnot are under 20, but only played here once, minus Adam Hadwin. Cameron Davis shows up with a 29th and a 28th. That's not great, Not going to hurt us, but it's not great. And then everyone else is 30 and above. And barely, like, we have 8 golfers between 30 and 40 with course history. Brennan Steele having the most, played here 8 tournament. Like, this is his 9th straight appearance, at least his 9th straight appearance at the American Express. Phil, pretty darn close. Obviously didn't play in 2014, but he's also not a guy that I'm really caring to play, if I'm going to be quite honest. Yeah, not great. Let's look at the most top 10s. Hadwin with 3, obvious. Bill Haas with 3. Now, he was almost dead last in the Sony Open. His last round, though, he was 4 under. So he must have figured something out. But his first round was 5 over. So he missed the cut by a lot. But his second round was really good. Kind of turned it around. So maybe. Charlie Hoffman played really well last week. Maybe he's also in consideration. He also has California ties. So I should have included that as well. But I'm not even sure if he showed up. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't remember. But you can see there haven't been that many top 10 finishes here. Like, this tournament, I hate the word volatility, but this tournament is very volatile. I don't think we're going to get really many answers looking at course history, to be quite honest. Maybe Adam Hadwin, that's it. But, yeah, can't really think of anything. Basically, the last piece of this would be, I would consider under grass stats, but it's Pete Dye information. Who plays well at Pete Dye golf courses? If we filter this, we have Will Gordon at the top. He has 1 event under his belt, finished 3rd, and that was earlier this year. Oh, that was in 2020. I have 2020 stats. I'm not sure exactly where that was. Could have been RBC Heritage, most likely. Probably. Travelers? I'm not sure. But then you can see EVR. He also has 1 finish, and that was 21st. And then really, if we want to talk about the real names, and not so much real, but like the heavy hitters, we have Cantlay, Doc Redman, Brooks Koepka even shows up. Paul Casey at 8,700. Scotty Scheffler finished 3rd here last year. That brought his average down to 44. So, like, his overall die average, not great, but obviously has a good finish here. Same with Sam Burns. Same story with Sam Burns. In fact, I think that 3rd plus an 85. Yeah, so he has a miscut and a top 10. That's what Scheffler has. Burns had 8 events, 44.38 is his average die course performance. Yeah, nothing's really telling here. What I do like to use is going to this top 10 percentage. So of all the events that any of these golfers in the field have played Pete Dye events, this is their percentage of hitting the top 10 or what they've done in the past. So we see a lot of guys with very little events up here. So Will Gordon, obviously, with a 3rd place finish, has 100% top 10 percentage, whatever you want to call it. Scheffler with 50, again, only just 2 events. But we have Sung Kang with 50%, 19 overall die events, and 67.89. That's crazy. Do I have it still up? No, I don't. Sung Kang. Kind of want to look. We have this by total overall average. What was he at again? 67.89. Sung Kang, how are you that good? Okay, so it's a typo. For whatever reason, it's showing up at 0%. So we're gonna negate that. Why is that? This is kind of my spreadsheet that I just copy and paste over. Uh-oh. Something's not right. Did I delete this by accident? How in the heck? Huh. I'm gonna try to figure this out really quick. Sorry to waste your time. I can't do that. That's why, because I sorted it. Oh, what a pain in the butt, honestly. Gonna have to figure it out. Gotta figure it out. Okay, so this is better. For whatever reason, why it was showing up the way it was, I don't know. So what we're gonna do, take the filter off. None of this should have been filtered prior to, so I should be able to just do this. Oh, that's probably what happened. Copy and paste right here. Let's look for Sung Kang. What was he? 7? There we go. Now it's updated properly. Jeez. Let's look at this again. Thank you for being patient, by the way. So, top 10 percentage. I'm curious. I gotta look to see if Sung Kang showed up again. No, he did not. Okay, good. He's now at the bottom. All right. Let's go back over this. So now I have Sebastian Kaplan at 50%. So it must have been somehow messed up. I think Kaplan is correct. Now I have to go check that because it's... Yeah, he has 50%. 2... Okay, 1 top 10. Best finish was 6th. Perfect. Okay, here we go. As we can see, I mean, Patrick Cantlay still shows up, 35.71%. Brooks actually kind of tumbles down a little bit, so obviously his number was not as good as some of these other guys, or just maybe just not the correct number. But we see Streelman, Harmon, Burns. Really like Burns this week. I think a lot of people do. Abraham Answer shows up as well. A lot of people on Answer. But yeah, that looks to be the best of the Pete Dye golfers. I do like using the percentage better than the overall average. Kind of just shows you kind of the raw potential. How many guys have done well at Pete Dye golf courses, and you know, there's a better way to do this. It's probably looking at the median, you know, and that's probably something I should be doing. And maybe I plan to incorporate that a little bit later down the road. But that would be all of the Pete Dye golf courses. You can look at the 2020 performance, how many events, like a lot of people with very little events. Answer, pretty good choice. Koepka, Cantlay, Kevin Na, and Drew Landry. Obviously with the win last year, that's why his stats look really good. Alex Noren actually shows up. That's a pretty decent, good overall, good 2020 and top 10 percentage. That's 7,600. Really good. Like that a lot. Okay, so let me give you my best course fit plays. And we'll go by salary. So Patrick Cantlay, far and above, my favorite at 10K and above. In the 9K range, Abraham Answer is my favorite. I mean, just for course fit alone, I think he's a great play. I am tempted to play someone like Matthew Wolff. Now, granted, Matthew Wolff does not have very good overall die stats, but still pretty decent. In the 8K range, it's going to be Sam Burns. Sam Burns, he draws the golf ball. He hits it a mile. He has great Pete Dye, stats, whatever you want to call it, course history. I do like him, and if it was Bermuda, I would like him a little bit more, but obviously it's not, so we're not going with that. 7K range, I think it's got to be Alex Noren. Just seeing all of this. Now, he's a fade golfer, so playing the stadium course is a little bit trickier, but like I said, you don't necessarily need to hit a draw. The greens, I think, are deep enough. You just have to be a precision iron player, and I think that's exactly what Alex Noren is. If not, Doc Redman would be a good alternative, although he has 0 top 10s at Pete Dye golf courses, whereas Alex Noren has 16.67%. Hoffman might be a good candidate as well. Same with Streelman or Keegan Bradley, but I'm gonna stick with Alex Noren. And then in my 6K range, oh man, for me, I think where was he? I had a player. I'm not sure. I had a player, but I think I was looking at the wrong stats before creating this video, and now I can't think of the person that I want to play. You got a pretty good bunch of golfers right here, just based off of their die events, but obviously you can see not a lot of experience. Oh man, I guess I don't have one. Sorry for not being prepared for the 6K golfer, but can't find him. Had him. It might be Snedeker, if I'm being honest. I think it is Snedeker. I'd probably go with Brandt Snedeker. I had a few golfers here. I can't remember exactly who, but we're just gonna go with Brandt Snedeker and leave it there. So appreciate you guys watching all the way up until now. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you in a strategy video tomorrow. Okay, bye.